Our headline story: Kazungula Bridge brings new business opportunities. In a bid to increase the free flow of trade between the Southern African Development Committee and Botswana and Zimbabwe's government, they made a choice to jointly build a multinational bridge to increase access to inter-regional trade. The bridge will also relieve traffic congestion at the infamous Beitbridge border crossing for freight truckers. It is estimated that the bridge will generate anywhere from $360 to $605 million over the next 3 decades. We're taking a look at a new bridge to new opportunities today. I'm Zolulakwe Adeleru Balogun. Welcome. This is Business Edge. The new Kazungula Bridge and one-stop border post project has been commissioned by the President of Zambia, Edgar Lungu, and his Botswanan counterpart, Mokgweetsi Masisi. The new bridge will provide a vital link between neighbors Botswana and Zambia, and Zimbabwe will also be getting some major benefits. Now, the construction of the bridge over the Zambezi River commenced in December 2014 and was funded by the African Development Fund as well as the Japan International Cooperation Agency. Kazungula Bridge is expected to significantly improve the trade infrastructure of the Southern African Development Community, SADC, and the continent. One-stop border facilities will be erected in both Zambia and Botswana with a 930-meter-long and an 18.5-meter-wide road rail bridge. The bridge would provide vital transport infrastructure on that corridor as it would facilitate easy access to intra-regional trade and the international market through connectivity with major seaports. Once operational, about 250 trucks are expected to pass through the bridge every day. Now, joining me from Lilongwe, Malawi, is developmental economist Hubert Nathambwe. Hubert, thank you for joining us once again on Business Edge, and welcome.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
So let's get into some of the background. So the bridge is something that I think infrastructurally we can agree should have happened before now. So what finally do you think pushed Zambia and Botswana to getting this project off the ground? It's been about 2 or so decades. Conversations around this have been in the works before the project actually kicked off in the mid-2000s.
Okay. Firstly, looking at the bridge, especially this bridge that has costed more than $240 million in construction. The bridge, as you have already said, commenced in the year 2014. But otherwise, talks on the bridge were there even before that year. Only that maybe lack of funding and maybe lack of vision was lacking for it maybe to start the construction. But then looking at the commitment, especially from the Commercial Agreement Act, that was there maybe to improve economic trade and development in the region by maybe easing these trade barriers, and also looking at the fact that we're having a lot of congestion at the Beitbridge, especially for trucks and other vehicles moving from South Africa going to the North Corridor of the region. I think such challenges led to the fast construction of the bridge. Otherwise, since 2014, we have seen the great improvement in the construction, and maybe until 2019, and now we are seeing that the bridge is about to be opened next week, Monday. So I think I can attribute it to that.
Okay, so one of the things I found interesting about this project is that the bridge actually curves to avoid the nearby borders of Zimbabwe and Namibia. While Namibia and Zimbabwe joined the consortium in 2018, was there no consideration in terms of including Zimbabwe and Namibia in the project before then, even though we know that, of course, Beitbridge is in Zimbabwe? It's one of the reasons that this bridge is so vital right now, but this bridge curves to avoid other borders. What about the continuity? What about also expanding beyond? What were the considerations in that regard?
Okay, looking at the bridge, especially how the bridge is trying to connect the regions, we can see that the bridge, especially for those trucks maybe moving from Durban to all the way to South Africa up there, coming either to the regions of Zambia or moving through, Zimbabwe. We could observe that since it was the only way that was being used, especially that was efficient, we could observe more than 770 trucks that were passing through the Zimbabwean, bed bridge, that side each and every day. So the coming in of maybe more and more trade issues that were there, I think it was reasonable that this bridge should bypass these other sections and maybe cross straight to Botswana, so that it eases the access from South Africa, maybe to Zambia and then the other regions. Also looking at how this bridge is, because it's connecting almost more than 5 countries, somewhere where the train is moving from Zambia to Botswana. So maybe the convenience of such a thing, maybe that's what has led to maybe trying not to consider Zimbabwe or Namibia to be part of the route.
Okay. Sure. All right. So we know that Botswana's government has said that the Kazungula Bridge is expected to enhance the ability to attract more private sector investment, boost the tourism sector, and also contribute to the advancement of the quality of life of communities in the region. Do you think this bridge, this one bridge that's connecting Zambia and Botswana, can do all of these things?
Yeah, I really think so. I really think so. Because even by just looking at the Botswana side on the bridge, we can easily see that the coming in of the bridge maybe can help to facilitate maybe the growth of the businesses that were dying due to coming in of the coronavirus. We will see a lot of private funding, the construction maybe of buildings to do with hotels and the likes, especially closer to the bridge. So we are very likely to experience the private sector investments and increased one. But also looking at the issues to do with the we call this tourism, the tourism sector. If we have just to consider Botswana, the GDP in Botswana in 2020, I think it experienced a sharp decline in excess of 15% as compared to that in 2019, obviously due to the coming in of Corona. And also, we can align it to the fact that since there were a lot of restrictions in mobility and the likes, but then with the building of this bridge and the one-stop border post, we are expecting that to have an increased accessibility of mobility. People will be moving across easily. And also, we will expect to have an increased contribution of tourism to the GDPs of this country.
All right, so looking at the newly opened Kazungula Bridge that connects Zambia and it connects Botswana. Now, this bridge is also expected to bring in some interesting bypasses. Hubert, I do believe you're back with me. Let's continue this conversation now. All right, so let me get to this. This bridge is also now directly competing with Brett Bridge in Zimbabwe. And that Brett Bridge, unfortunately, is infamous and notorious for the delays that it can cause. The bridge is expected to facilitate regional freight transports because it will allow trucks to basically bypass the notorious Bet Bridge border post between Zimbabwe and South Africa. And that one is said to be perennially congested, vehicles spending hours and sometimes days queuing to get across. Do you think that Kazungula can really take off some of the pressure from the Bet Bridge border post? And how quickly do you think we'll see a difference in how many trucks are at Bet Bridge versus the trucks that are passing at Kazungula?
Right. I really think this Kazungula Bridge will ease the pressure that was there at Bet Bridge. Because if we have to observe in the situation analysis study that was there somewhere in 2011, it was observed that about 470 trucks were passing the Bet Bridge each and every day. And if all things were okay, there were some delays maybe to do with 48 hours for a vehicle to pass by the Bet Bridge and get cleared through Zimbabwe. But then with the coming in of the COVID, we have seen that vehicles could wait for almost 9 days at the bridge without being cleared. And unfortunately also observed something like we lost 4 lives of truck drivers in the year 2019 due to the, in the year 2020, due to the congestion. So looking at the capacity that was there at Bedbridge of 470 trucks per day, and looking at the capacity that the Kazungula bridge is bringing, about 250 trucks, we can see that that is more than half the number of trucks that were passing, that were contributing to the congestion at the Bedbridge. Also considering the fact that moving maybe just, for example, from Durban to the northern corridor of the region, it was estimated that it's about something like a 27 hours journey. And we are hoping that, it was 27 hours journey, regardless of whether you pass through Zimbabwe or you pass through Botswana. So we can see that really this will contribute a lot to the easiness of the congestion that was there, as some of the trucks now will be passing through the Botswana side, while some will be passing through the Bedbridge side.
Okay, so I want us to take a break now. When we come back, we need to also look at the fact that it's very obvious Zimbabwe is going to lose some revenue because it's going to see a reduction in the DRC to Durban traffic. How do you think Zimbabwe should address this? Then we can also look at what it means for the region, because this bridge is opening just as the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement has officially kicked off at the beginning of this year. All of that and more will be coming up as we continue this conversation. The Kazungula Bridge has opened between Botswana and Zambia. It is a bridge to new business opportunities. This is Business Edge. We'll be right back. Still with me is development economist Hubert Nathambwe as we look at Kazungula Bridge opening between Botswana and Zambia. So Hubert, let's look at this. So the bridge is going to allow trucks that are moving to and from South Africa to now bypass Zimbabwe entirely, if that's what they choose. But this also means that Zimbabwe will lose out on some revenue from the border crossing. The concerns are that they will also lose out on the DRC to Durban traffic. How do you think Zimbabwe can deal with this loss of revenue that is surely going to happen?
Looking at the challenge that will be brought, especially on the Zimbabwean side, since most of the trucks and the vehicles were passing through their border and maybe getting towed through their country, I would rather suggest that maybe considering that the number of trucks that will be passing now through the Kazungula Bridge and the number that will be passing through the Zimbabwean bridge will be almost like similar. So I would recommend that maybe they take it as a matter of competition and maybe try to minimize their tolls. Because looking at the Zimbabwe, according to the toll roads regulations of 2020, we observed that Zimbabwe established some toll fees ranging from 100 to 300 US dollars, depending on the size of the trucks. Well, that for the Kazungula, as announced, I think some 6 days ago on the Botswana United Revenue Service News, I think they are ranging their tolls from 65 to 100. So maybe if they try to work it out from there, like as a competition side, maybe try to minimize the fees that are involved when passing through the Zimbabwean borders, try to increase their efficiency when the vehicles are waiting to be cleared. So I believe it still can continue a bit and maybe observe something better than just the way the situation it is now, because most of the vehicles will be preferring the other way around.
All right, and it remains to be seen how that happens. Another aspect of this is that we know that the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, COMESA, has a common customs agreement in place. And the bridge seems to be something that will add a boost to the movement of goods, services, and manpower across the continent. What do you think about this? How will the bridge play out into the COMESA agreement as well?
I already said its main aims were maybe to remove the barriers of trade and the likes. We can see that this bridge now will transform the dynamics of transportation in the surrounding countries. We can see that the bridge and maybe the railways that is there will help maybe to easily transit goods, putting all the geographical locations of maybe Zambia, Zimbabwe, Namibia, Botswana, a population that is more than 79 million. So with that in mind, it means that we will have an improved, real-time trade deals that will be there. And with that, and with the increased, demand from the 279 million people that we are expecting to cover this region, we hope to have an improved, situation in terms of trade amongst this region, and hence contributing to the commercial deal.
Okay, and let's expand that now. We can look at the opening of the bridge in relation to the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. In terms of AfTA, what role do you think this particular bridge could play?
Sorry, come again. I lost.
With the opening, with the beginning, with the taking off of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, what role do you think the Kazungula Bridge can play?
All right. Since the Kazungula Bridge is passing straight from South Africa to Botswana and then linking with Zambia, I believe there are chances there that can be, the agreements between these regions maybe to remove some of the tariffs and everything that is involved to cross the border, since it is easier now to move from this region, this side to the other. So I believe that's the role the bridge can play, since it is the bridging gap. And maybe since it was the missing link that was there in the previous years, now it can be utilized now to enhance the trade between these regions.
Very true. All right. So before I let you go, Hubert, we know that this bridge is also going to offer traders relief, because many of these traders have been using unreliable ferries to get across the river to reach markets on both sides of the divide, of both sides of the Botswana-Zambia border. We also know that movement of goods and services is supposed to be easier and faster as well. But when it comes down to it, for businesses and customers at the end of the day, what benefits do you think the Kazungula Bridge is going to bring? All
right. Taking into consideration the customers and maybe the traders already have a great deal to benefit, because we have now increased the transition of goods and services amongst these borders that was not there before. We could observe in the previous years that goods could maybe spend 7 to 8 days just to cross the Zambezi River using the ferries that were there. But now goods can only take a maximum of a day to cross the border. So we have increased the real-time trades, between the countries. So the traders have much to gain because they have minimized costs or that they spend, especially when waiting for their vehicles to be cleared. They can now do their trades faster than they used to before. Coming on the customers, and now the one on the other side, they also benefit a great deal, because since now it's easy to transport goods and services, and the trades are being conducted at a lower cost, it also implies that the cost of the things will at least expectedly go down, since there are less costs that are involved in the transportation and the likes. So with such things in mind, we believe that both the traders and the customers will have to benefit a great deal from the construction of this bridge.
All right.
Sure.
And we'll see how everything plays out, especially given, as you said, the possible competition that could come into play involving Brett Bridge as well, and how Zimbabwe might respond to this. Hubert Nathambwe from Lilongwe, Malawi, thank you so much for joining us on Business Edge.
Thank you once again.
All right, and we hope to have you back. So before we leave you today, let's give you a quick look at a few stories we're keeping our eyes on. Our conversation from yesterday pops up in that South African Airways, with the management and the SAA Pilots Association are expected to meet on Wednesday over pending payment disputes, and that's coming from the chair of the association, Captain Grant Back. Although SAA exited business rescue at the end of April, the airline and the association did not reach agreement on 3 issues: retrenchment packages and salaries owed to its members, as well as the contentious regulatory agreement and the lockout of pilots since December 2020. Kenya's foreign currency reserves fell to $7.575 billion last week from $7.664 billion the previous week. This comes after 3 weeks of accelerating, as per data from the Central Bank of Kenya. Despite the decline, the foreign reserves are sufficient to cover more than 4 months of imports, meeting the CBK's statutory requirement of at least 4 months of import cover. The Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries of Morocco has announced a series of incentives to ensure a good marketing campaign for cereals during the 2020-2021 crop year. The initiatives are in partnership with the Ministry of Economy, Finance and Administration Reform and aim to allow farmers to market their crops in the best conditions and at profitable prices. And finally, the 14-inch crude trunk line operated by Shell Petroleum Development Company in the Niger Delta region spilled 276 barrels of crude oil in 3 incidents in April, according to a report. The 276 barrels of crude is the cumulative volume of spill from a section of the pipeline that crosses Bielsa and Rivers communities during that period. And that's it on this edition of Business Edge. Don't forget to follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. We have a website, we're on YouTube, and of course, we have a mobile app that you can take us with you wherever you go. Until next time, I'm Tolulokwe Adeleru Balogun.